Who y'all recruiting nation? Chief Totemate here. Welcome to a special behind the scenes episode of Uncharted Waters with the one Admiral James Waters. Today we're going to give you a sneak peek of what happens behind the curtain for enlisted and officer programs. But before we do that, let's talk about what an amazing year we had.
Yeah, it's incredible. You know, thanks, Chief, for bringing us together for this special edition, a behind-the-scenes look.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, so as we're wrapping up FY24, we made the nuke field mission, we made the AC enlisted mission, and we made the total RC mission. Right? So nuke field, 3427 plus, so we're growing, and the numbers will be finalized later today. AC enlisted 40,600.
That's amazing.
And to give some perspective to Recruiting Nation, we had contracted as of the end of the first 6 months of the year, 16,400. And here we are at 40,600.
Sir, what an amazing feat. You got to talk about this journey, sir.
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's taken the work of the entire Recruiting Nation, about 6,000 strong, to get after this challenge, to turn around something that we were struggling, and not through anyone not working hard. Everybody was working hard.
Absolutely.
It was really about removing barriers, prioritizing the recruiter as our number one priority.
Absolutely.
And getting after processes that really just hampered recruiting. Our medical waiver process required improvement. The various pieces that a recruiter has to go through, processes to bring a young American into the Navy. We simplified a lot of that, and we continue to do that. But it's been an amazing run. And a big part of that, and that's what we really want to show Recruiting Nation today, was very close, understanding of our recruiting data and where we were each and every day.
Absolutely.
So we're in a world where every day is mission day, every day is gate day, because we know exactly where we're supposed to be and exactly where we are each and every day.
Love it.
And it's allowed us to get to where we are. And another piece of perspective, before we show the behind the scenes look, is Navy recruiting has not contracted as many people as we have in FY24 since 2003.
Whew.
It's just amazing. Over 20 years.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Recruiting Nation, on behalf of you all, I definitely want to thank the Admiral, because this definitely couldn't have happened under greater leadership. So thank you so much, sir.
Well, thank you, Chief. I appreciate it.
Now, Recruiting Nation, are you ready to see what happens behind the curtain? Let's go.
All right. Okay. Good morning. This is the final countdown. You're welcome. For that being on deck today. Okay.
So 95% gate was on Friday. We are involved on AC, nuke, RC, pry, and non-nuke cell. Warrior challenges in scramble mode to get back. We need 28 today to cross the lines.
Okay.
We're feeling good.
The prospects are good
We're feeling good.
for a last-minute victory.
I'm feeling good.
All right.
If you scroll down to the numbers on screen 2, please.
Okay.
If you bring up the shipping prospecting,
So we're a couple off on active.
and scroll down to the right.
So I thought we were at 4884. It's showing 4881.
We'll double check.
Just a couple off.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Okay. No, this is good. I mean, there's been a lot of work done to get us to close out 24 strong. And what we saw before, if we scroll back up to where the OCS class loading is, I mean, really all that is 25 loading.
Yes, sir.
And what we're looking at there for officers is 24. No, 25. For the gen off is 25 on the left there.
If you scroll a little bit.
For the left, yes, for the
Even though it
left.
says 24 at the top of the screen, it's
Yeah.
25.
Yeah, that's
Gen
the-
off. I got it.
So if you keep it on one screen, but gen off is absolutely a FY 25, and that's.
Yeah, and it shows us off to a strong start.
Yes, sir.
In fact, several of the designators are closed
Yes, sir.
because we filled them for 25,
That's right.
right?
Yes, sir.
Which is amazing, and will allow officer recruiters to focus on the ones that are open,
That's right.
right? And it's really important for the regions to be able to manage that designator shift as we eliminate or close out designators from that, right? So comms are going to be really important. Hopefully that's been communicated to the field, that they understand that when they're done with the designator doesn't mean they're done. It means we're focused on the next set of designators.
Not yet. We haven't clearly articulated. Yes, they do know that. They know the mission doesn't stop just because we no longer have to put pilots in. Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. Thanks. Appreciate it. No, let's just move on to the prospecting.
Rank the activity goals recruits.
Okay. Be careful with that. Okay, so this is a good indicator where attempts and contacts are low, but appointments and interviews and qualified interviews are, well, at least appointments and interviews are where they're supposed to be are high, right? And qualified interviews are, oh, I guess they're over the goal as well. Yeah, and so for the screen 2, what's the window where this data is from?
This is from October last year.
So this is the full year?
This is the full, almost the full year. Last Wednesday to update. Of course, I'll update when we get to go for second half tomorrow.
Yeah. And this is
And this is the
to
conversions,
contract?
yes, sir.
Yeah.
This is based on a full 10-month, we had gone back and forth with
Yeah.
we do close, and 10 months is where the series stabilizes, I think,
Yeah.
time series.
So one of the
10
things
months
that we're,
stabilizes.
that the analysts really need to dig into here is why is the conversion rate low from interviews to qualified interviews and qualified interviews to contracts? What is the driver,
Yes, sir.
right? We have a theory that some of it is driven by the pre-battle stations medical process, but when you look at some of that close-in data, it doesn't exactly validate that assumption. We know that there is something there because we went from months to days to close out those things. This is just in the QI to contracts. Okay?
Next slide. please.
Yep. Yeah, so this one is your newest.
Newest checklist chart, I did read your changes, thank you for those, sir. We'll get those done, merging the 3 into the 1. Heat overlay will be like it is on 1 instead of the off.
Yeah.
But you know there's disparity between the in tags. Carolina, there's no way it takes 89 attempts, and Richmond takes 500 points. So I think
So there's
it's
something
maybe a
going on with the data.
documentation,
Mhm.
or that some in tags have attempt goals, that you have to call so many people before you leave each day.
Well,
It stabilizes
having-
when you get to appointments.
Having prospecting, fundamental prospecting actions is not necessarily a bad thing. It just, it does beg the question, why is it 500 in one and 89 in another? There will be differences because the markets are different.
Absolutely, that goes to your propensity.
But I don't know if that makes sense, right? Over 5 times a difference. But ultimately, what you see at the top, that heat, to make sure I'm tracking this right, the colors are coded to, or should be coded to relative to
100%.
100%.
Yes,
So
you get in the green when you go over 100%, kind of like the Roddy charts, and that's
Yeah.
the inflection point.
Okay. What I want out of this is for each NTAG to be retrospective on what it is about what they're doing that's leading to the results that they're getting. I want us here in the analytics team and the folks that are part of the ops and driving mission from the regions to look at this and ask questions. Why is it that way? What can we do to change it? Is it a data issue? Is it a performance issue? Is it a market issue? Right? This should drive things, should even feed into the decisions we're making on manning. Right? As we think about, well, where do we need to put people? What is the market doing? If activity has to be significantly higher than it is in order to get the results that we're demanding, does the goal need to be lower? Do they need more people? What is the market? These are the kind of questions I want us to be asking as we go forward. Okay, any thoughts from the regions on this discussion? Because I want us to get to a place in these briefs where we're doing it relatively quickly and we're able to have a conversation about an NTAG and what it looks like going forward.
Sort of look at the tape.
Yeah, let's take a quick look at that. So I think they're set to just 75% goes green, but this needs to get to a place where it's only green if you're ahead of where you're supposed to be at a given moment, right? If you're on or above. Well, I don't. Every day is gate day because we know where we're supposed to be every single day, right? That's the mantra. Every day is mission day. Every day is gate day. Because we know where we're supposed to be every single day, right? The only reason you have gates in our past is because we couldn't know every single day where every NTAG and every region and the nation as a whole was. We know that now. So I know on each day of the month what percent of the way through the year I am, and that's where I'm supposed to be. So we should be green if we're ahead of it, we should be yellow if we're behind it, and we should be red if we're more than a couple percent behind. Right? That's how every chart in here we need to evolve to. All right, hey listen, this is the last day of the fiscal year. We made mission last week for all of active component, all of reserve component, and within that the new field, and we're still climbing. Greg King sent me some information last week. I don't know if everyone's tracking this, but we haven't contracted the number of contracts we're at this moment, with still today to go, since 2003. And if you look at the rate at which we've contracted since the 1st of April, there is no record of that. We were at 16.4 contracts when we started when I started, I guess. We were always running. 1st of April, so 24,481 or 84 times 2. We're closing in on an annual rate of about 49,000 contracts. It's amazing, right? Unprecedented, and it was the work of this team together that got us there. So don't take any of the sort of grind of the polish that we're doing here amongst ourselves in a negative way. It's all to make us better. And rest assured, I know we're good. We just have things we can do to be better.
Recruiting Nation, we are live from the Recruiting Operations Center. This is the behind the scenes. We just concluded from the ops brief. We are today our phenomenal guest. We have Lieutenant Commander Robert Terranova, who's our National Enlisted Programs Officer, as well as our National Officer Programs Officer, Lieutenant Commander Christopher Veen Heiss. Gentlemen, welcome.
Yeah, it's great to have you.
Thanks, sir. Thanks, Chief.
Absolutely. So we've never done this before. Today you get a sneak peek of what happens on a daily basis in Navy recruiting. So, sir, we have all these phenomenal screens behind us. Can you tell us a little bit about how these screens assist you in the daily mission?
Yeah, absolutely, Chief. So on screen 2, right, or I'll start over here on screen 1. This is our daily view. If I scroll down, you can see it on a weekly view. This captures our all-nav attainment. It shows us our trends, what we've done on a weekly and daily basis. So I can see what's required versus what's attained and where we have to go.
Yeah, it's really important for Recruiting Nation to understand, though. This is live data out of Salesforce.
Yes, sir.
Right? We know every day, we know weekly, but also every single day how many we've produced. And that's just the, sort of high level, basic 101 level view, and then we dive in from there.
Yes, sir. On screen 2, right behind the Admiral, you can see our mission broken down in many columns and rows. But basically this tells us what is needed, the rates in which we're traveling, and it's broken down by anywhere from 30 days needed to 5 days to how we did yesterday, and then go from there.
Yeah, so nationally, we're looking at the aggregation of the work of recruiters in every state, in every zip code, and looking at not just what was done, but the rate at which it's being done, and comparing that to the rate that's necessary in order to make mission by the end of the year.
Absolutely. And then on screen 3 behind Chief Totome, right here we have pulled up our contract attainment by month. What's cool about this is I can go back in time, I can divide it by AC, RC, Nuke, Warrior Challenge, Pry rates. I can also look at it from a fiscal year perspective to see how the NTAGs are attaining, attriting, netting, and then their gross attainment at the far right.
Yeah, so every single thing that an NTAG is producing
Yes, sir.
shows up on this chart,
Yes,
right? And in the Salesforce system. And so we can take a close look at that. And you saw at the ops brief that we started here and then kept going. In particular, we took a hard look at prospecting, upper sales funnel. So at the NTAG level to see where are things going, how are we doing, because that upper sales funnel is the projection of where we're going.
Yes, sir.
And it can help us understand where resources may need to flow to help.
Absolutely. And then the last screen 4 behind NOPO, is our beloved Robbie charts. This allows us to, it goes based on close of business yesterday, but it allows us to look at trends, identify trends, see where the NTAGs are moving, sir, on our major mission categories across the period of time. And then you'll see I have New Orleans pulled up right there for you, sir. That far left box, you'll notice that New Orleans isn't even on there. That's because they've absolutely crushed it this year.
Yeah, so a shout out to NTAG New Orleans who broke the Robbie chart this year. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So, gentlemen, we've had a phenomenal FY. Can you speak a little bit about some of the highs and lows that we had this year, starting with you, Lieutenant Commander?
Well, Chief, I've been recruiting since 2006. This is my 5th recruiting tour, so I've seen the ups and downs of recruiting. And I think maybe not for just FY24, but the last couple of years, it's been really hard to see the field out there. They're out there kind of with a defeatist attitude. A lot of that's because we had barriers that were in our way. If that was COVID-19 or if that was transitioning from one recruiting model to another, back to it again. And then finally, I think the biggest issue is the medical backlog, which I think everybody appreciates you, Admiral, with taking the risk on that and clearing it because it's making life easier. So I think it's been hard to see people who are working really hard have that that mentality of defeatism. Where we're seeing it improve, though, is we're starting to win again. And when you start to win, it starts to change, the command climate. When you start making mission, I'm a firm believer that mission accomplishment helps with command climate.
You just articulated winner's win right there.
Right, and so, you know, as we move into, you know, this next year, you know, I know the enlisted ended on a really good note, and I can tell you that we were really pushing at the very end on the officer mission, and we've got a lot of stuff going our way.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see the officer mission really take off. You know, we're already, and for those that don't understand, the officer mission was producing FY25 starting in July, right? Because the folks that go to OCS or officer candidate school don't count unless they graduate in the fiscal year. So after the beginning of July, they're graduating in October, which is FY25. And we've been loading classes, and they're loaded all the way, and we talked about it at the ops brief, all the way into November.
January.
And, they're loaded into January, but maxed out, like going into November and building, right? Unlike any recent past year. And so setting us up for success. Your leadership there and just guiding how we manage it, I think has been really helpful. And working toward where we can, load everything we need in a designator, and then hey, we're done in 25 recruiting. Anybody else we recruit there would be a 26, and we can start focusing effort in the areas where we continue to need help.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, really good.
Lieutenant Commander?
The low is probably at the beginning of the year with all the projections from outside, you know, reading Navy Times and saying that we're going to miss by this and we can't ship this. And I mean, obviously the high is, you know, proving the naysayers wrong. Today, you know, meeting AC, RC, crushing nuke field. But there is a lot of work, not only here, but most especially out in the field, and the barrier removals, the initiatives, listening to the field, taking notes, and a lot of changes. So we're excited. So I would say now's the high as it is mission day.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Amazing. So I kind of want to do a deep dive on these Robbie charts. Can you give us a little bit more detail
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
on
So I'll bring up another one. If Golden Gate, just gonna choose the high flyers here, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
So over on there, you'll see we reset the line, as everyone knows, out in the field come May 1st. On May 1st, set everybody back to 0 and said this was your goal between May and the end of the year. Go out and get it. We removed all monthly gates. Every day is mission day, and that's how we're treating it. So from there, we just said, hey, NTAGs, run. Remove the barriers, remove the artificial constraints. And if you're in the red, red is not so good. Yellow, you're kind of holding water. You know, between the yellow and the green, there's like a thin green line that's 100%. There's a gap between the bottom of the green and the top that's about 107% is the top, and then everything above it is the blue, and that's where, you know, if you're running at a command, that's where we want you to be, and you're doing great things. So keep it up.
The important thing to remember about this Robbie chart is it's meant to be simple. It's meant to be just looked at and understood, right? You've got the percent, where are you? You got a date, and you got a brown line that shows where you are relative to getting to 100%. And every single day, we know exactly where an NTAG is supposed to be. And then we know where we are relative to that. So there's no, like, we'll wait till the end of the month, we'll wait till the end of the quarter, and then we'll report back on how we did. We know exactly how we're doing. And that has been a game changer that you've exploited on the enlisted side. And while we don't quite have the same Robbie chart scenario on the officer side, the concept is still the same. Where are we supposed to be, and where are we? And are we moving in the direction of 100%?
So, Lieutenant Commander, you mind giving us a quick overview of Gen-Off medical officer programs moving forward into FY25?
Yes, sure. So we came up a little bit short on the Gen-Off side. We barely missed SWO. We came a little bit short on CEC. Medical, we are still commissioning people today, but we're probably...
Booyah.
So, and we're going to keep pushing. However, we've had a lot of help from OpNav and Bubers 3 when it comes to the board. One of the hindrances for the recruiting nation out there for the officer side was our ability to, once you've gotten past the medical side of it all, but actually getting out there, finding somebody who meets the program authorization. Unfortunately, our selection rates were sub 50%, which means an officer recruiter essentially had to find 2 folks to get 1 in. Working with that team, we've gotten that selection rate up to over 90%. So now when the hard work that these people are putting into it, as long as they meet the PA, we have a very good shot at meeting that goal. As we use the stoplight criteria that the Admiral had mentioned, the whole focus here is to kind of funnel our recruiting once we hit a mission, actually going after what we have left. What that means this year is we're going to have to be dynamic. It's going to be a little bit different than we've recruited in the past. Working along with the regions and the NTAG COs, we've got to constantly be looking at kind of the national level picture and giving the regions the freedom to move goals around, to be able to attack the mission where it currently lies. And as we do that, I think we have, I can tell you to date, we're about 74% of the Gen Off mission already identified or shipped, or we have pro eyes on them already, so we're sitting in a really good place. As we move into the medical mission, we are working with BUMED. We're working with from everything from corpsmen who come to medical recruiting, getting them a career ladder bump, for the lieutenants who come in as nurses to recruiting, getting them a career ladder bump. So the talent that we're getting in, we're going to focus on those folks for 7 and 12 years.
Yeah, it's really good. A lot of bright futures ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So Lieutenant Commander Terranova, sustainability through FY25. What's your vision?
To be completely honest, I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg. Statistically, I think we're not operating at 100% just yet. We're incremental gains, as everyone says, but I don't think we're there yet, which is exciting, especially when what we've looked at and what we've contracted over, just since May, it's unprecedented and it's great. I think we have untapped markets. We have a recruiting force that's, being trained up. So I think we're going to do great things in FY25.
Yeah, the future is really bright.
Yes, sir.
It really is.
Sir, closing remarks?
Yeah, this has been amazing. Thanks to both of you for being here, but also for really, really pulling hard, rowing hard through the FY24. Chris, you jumped in partway through the year to your current role and really bent the curve. Rob, you obviously led us through this this renaissance, and I really appreciate it. For Recruiting Nation, you get an inside look at the way that we're managing and leading every single day, at the folks that are making a difference here at the headquarters, your points of contact, the folks that are day in and day out making it happen. And the result of all of that is we've made mission, and you'll get to see in just a moment the significant result of that as we celebrate here at NRC headquarters.
Booyah.
So hoo-yah.
Booyah. Recruit Nation, thank you so much for tuning in for our episode of Behind the Scenes. Chief Totome out for a great episode of Uncharted Waters with the Admiral James Waters. Chief Totome out.
It's now my pleasure to introduce the 78th Secretary of the Navy, born in Havana, Cuba, graduate of the Naval Academy, first CO of the USS Bulkley, White House Fellow. After retiring from the Navy, he and his wife, Betty, co-founded a small business and ran it for 17 years, selected by President Biden, and was sworn into office on August 9th, 2021. Please welcome our Secretary of the Navy, the Honorable Secretary Carlos Del Toro.
Thank you. I am so proud to be here today in Millington with all of you, and actually to be addressing all of our great, extraordinary recruiters across this great nation. Not just to thank you for the hard work that you have done over the course of this past year, but to thank you for the hard work that you have done over the course of the last 3 years to get us to where we are today. On this October 1st, to be able to share with you the statistics, the accomplishments that you have made and achieved through your own hard sacrifices and the hard sacrifices of your families and your children. There just isn't enough way to express my gratitude on behalf of every member of our Navy family and every American across this great nation. Let's have perhaps one of your recruiters ring it with me, huh? Why don't we pick one of your junior recruiters to ring it with me? Can we do that? Come on.
One of you come on up.
Get over here, Salazar. Stand on the other side over there.
We got you a new.
Grab this end here, and let's ring it together. All right, here we go.